What's popping, y'all? You're now listening to Sporting Convos with Eddie and Mike. It's me, Mike. I'm here with my guy.
Commander Eddie, taking command. Battle stations, everyone.
No, and battle is what Washington did on Monday night, man. It was a sight to see, man. Like
They call it that. Mollywop, whipping. I
a
don't know.
whipping. Nah,
The
I wouldn't
score
say
didn't
all that.
reflect it. I get defensively, but there were some big time plays being made there.
Yep, Washington. They pulled off the upset. They were favorite. I mean, they were underdogs, 7.5 points,
Yeah,
and
a lot of
they went to
points.
Cincy
7.5.
and they almost hung 40 on the Bengals. They beat them 38-33. Outstanding performance by Jayden Daniels.
Super.
Like I don't know. Like we have to start there. Like I know
Yeah,
that's what
screeching
everybody's
sharp.
been. I know that's what everybody's been talking about and posting about, tweeting and all that stuff. But that performance really was legendary. Like so far this season, I know I'm going back. I'm going. I know I'm going to an overall season perspective, but he's doing something that only names like Brady and Breeze and Roethlisberger and Josh Allen, like those are the names he's being mentioned against after these first three games. But specifically going back to Monday night, he completed over 90% of his passes.
91 to be exact.
And I know people like the Taylor Britt dude, um, they poo pooed the attack of the Daniels in the offense, but average yards per attempt on Monday night was 9, over 9. That's
Is that
high.
good? Is that good, Mike? That's
The
good?
average is 6. He was above
Oh,
average. Um,
bigger than the average. What she
like
said.
pause. But and then like my thing is we could talk about his gameplay all we want. I feel like the biggest story coming out of this is the attitude, the dog that was shown on the stage, national stage, like we all saw it. And I feel like I've been talking too much and not saying anything. So please take over, let me catch my breath because yeah, it's spectacular. I don't know what else to say.
Superb, Mike, would be another S word we could throw around there about
Stupendous.
absolutely. Absolutely. Mr. Daniels came in and he did the damn thing. You mentioned a lot of the positives already as far as yards per attempt, or completion, and as far as that go, you didn't really miss many. But you're right. It was the leadership. It was the cool, calm, collective sort of attitude. But equally, I don't know if you saw this late in the game, and I do think some of it had to do with the delay of game that had happened earlier in that same drive. But he's like, doing the like sort of circular motion, like, hey, let's speed this up here. He's like, let's go, and you can see, uh, um, good God, why did I forget? You can see Dan Quinn. I forgot his name for like 5 seconds. You can see Dan Quinn on the sideline doing the like hands like high up under your chin and then pushing down, like saying, "Hey, chill out, calm down." But Daniel's like, "Nah, like I'm on one. Like I got them right where I want them. Like let's go. I'm chomping at the bit." And you love that about it. And I think that, along with the cool, being Joe Cool under pressure, and then being willing to take that hit on the touchdown to Terry, that people are talking about it, but I don't think it's emphasized enough. Even people that are, a little bit larger, they are very good at exercising, if you will, very strong, very muscular. I don't think they're standing in there to take that hit for that throw. And let's also add in everything to what we said. he's really bleeping good too. Like he can actually like physically play the game. It's not just, hey, it's all of these things is how he's getting by. He also has a boatload of talent. Like the accuracy, the poise, the reading. Like if you notice, I think it was one of his incompletions, he waited just a second or two for Ertz to get open instead of throwing him open or throwing to the spot so that, Ertz's head is around, like on an out route, you turn your head around there, the ball is. He learned instantly. So that instant growth, like what I talked about on last week's show in reference to the Giants game, where in the second half he came and balled out. And if he does that going forward in the first half, not only the second half, we're going to be in much better shape. And I kind of feel like that's what happened. And I also feel like the whole team contributed that night. I'd say the onside kick was great for Zacchaeus. He might be the only one that didn't really do as much, but you saw multiple catches from our guy De'Ami Brown. Terry obviously was a big factor. Ertz, big factor. Sinnott was making plays. Eckler, God, is that a bummer? He's going to be out. He might be, like, in terms of per touch, he might be our best player, or at least so far. Like if you look at what he's done with his touches, like the yards per carry or catch, and then you could even, like, it doesn't count, but the kickoff return that got called back. But it was just everything about that game minus the defense. And ain't that something too, where we seem to always have, we got ham, we got no burger, we got, Kool-Aid, no sugar. Like it for years and years, hey, we had this great defense, we need a quarterback. And then it's like, all right, we've had a few different guys that are kind of looking like the guy, and the offense starts clicking, and now our defense sucks, right? And then all of a sudden we're back to like, all right, defense is pretty nice. Now we just need a quarterback. We have a quarterback, and all of a sudden, bless their heart, I know they're giving the effort, and at least the 2 sacks that Farrell's gotten is due to Allen and Payne, really making the plays that led to him getting the sack. But man, other than the defense, what I was getting at is everything about that game was just great. Even in a roundabout way, don't be wrong, I was rooting for us. It was for football. It was good to see that Joe Burrow was balling out like he was, that crazy thumb injury he had wasn't affecting him. But yeah, man, you see Chase come out and score that touchdown right away, and you're worried, and then it's like, okay, all of a sudden Daniels is just constantly putting you at ease. Like as the game went on, it got to where I almost was like, all right, how are we going to make this third or fourth down? And I don't mean questioning it like, yeah, prove me wrong. Oh, I mean, like, I expect us to get it. I just would like to know how which way are we going to get it this time? That's how confident I was becoming in game just with how he was playing. And your boy showed he could slide. He was making the right plays. Like the running, I get his body frame is not built for all those hits, but I don't think this is the same as RG3. I think people want it so badly to be. And yes, there's so many similarities, including all the hype, but I see him as more of a guy who, in the right moments, he will make that, hey, don't do that, kind of run because we need the extra yards. But for the most part, I see him like getting to the ground quick, avoiding as much contact as possible. And honestly, I feel like the same again. I've mentioned the growth, the instant growth. I feel like as he's taking these hits, he's getting down and getting out of bounds more and more often. I'm noticing that. But now I have talked for a very long time. So let me pass the mic. Mic check 1, 2. What you gonna do?
All right, I'm back. I'm prepared.
Uh-oh.
Um, I guess this is the last thing I want to say about Jayden Daniels. This is from the team. They tweeted this out. Because I threw out some names earlier with no context, and my apologies. So I'll fill you all in.
Cool.
Highest completion percentage through 3 games in a single season in NFL history. Notice, I said highest completion percentage through 3 games in a single season in NFL history. So we're talking the first 3 weeks in NFL history. I did not say for rookies. I said history,
That makes him
meaning everybody. Huh?
I said that makes him number one. Top of
No,
the
he's not number one. He's number 2 on this list. But it's the other 2 names on this list that
You
makes
just
the
said
list.
highest.
Yeah, it's the way they have it ranked on the. They have it ranked. So these are the 3 highest, rank 1 to 3.
Oh, okay. So he's almost
coming in at number 3, Tom Brady in a historic 2007 season. He started the year off with 79.5% of his passes completed in the first 3 games. Number 2 on the list, Jayden Daniels at 80.3%. And number 1, Drew Brees in one of his final seasons at 80.6%. And I promise you, without looking, I bet his depth of target is further than Brady and Brees. I guarantee you he's throwing the ball further than them in those first 3 games. So for him, notice I said this was Brees towards the end of his career and Brady in the prime of his career. And Daniels is performing at that efficient of a rate. Like, come on, bruh. And check this out. I memorized this now. In the last 50 years, bro, only 3 times has a team. I said I memorized it, but I'm going to pull it up. Only 3 times has a team went back-to-back games with no field goals, with no turnovers, no punts. 04, the Steelers in weeks 15, 16, and they were led by Big Ben. 2021, week 16, 17, and they were led by Josh Allen. And the 2024 Commanders in weeks 2 and 3, led by Jayden Daniels.
Yeah, I believe.
Like, we're not talking. Hold on, bro. Let me finish. We are not talking normal rookie stuff right now, bro. We're talking the hottest of starts for a quarterback. Like, stuff that legends were doing. He's doing in his first 3 games. And you see that there's room for growth, and that's the crazy part. And nobody's saying that he's going to go down as the greatest of all time because anything can happen. But tell me a rookie who had a hotter first 3 games. Find one. Oh, also, I got this stat from Pat McAfee, Hembo's interesting stats. Washington is leading the NFL in percentage of drives resulting in points at 64%. Bruh, Wayne punt in the last 2 games. Tressway is on the sideline chilling. Yesterday on Grant and Danny, they called him a holder. They said Commander's holder, Tressway. Because that's all he's been doing the last 14 days.
He's been on a little sabbatical.
And I guess I'll give props to the skilled players and the offensive line. My goodness, the offensive line performed so well last night.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, they gave up a sack or 3, but overall, I'm comfortable with their performance. Eckler, it sucks that he's going to miss the next game with the concussion. Hopefully, it's just the next game, and it doesn't linger. But he was a man on a mission last night, bro. Like, he was on fire. So losing him is going to suck. But that's where all my good stuff ends for this episode. Unless you want to talk about the offense some more.
Yeah,
I think we need to fry something real quick.
Just gonna kind of do a quick piggyback off of what you were saying with Daniels. You know, he definitely he's like Hansel. He's so hot right now. Like you look at the categories in, because what you just said about as a team, I believe in their careers, I think it's like Manning, Brady, Breeze, etc. they've only ever done what we talked about just now, where no punts, all drives resulting in scores. They've only ever done that twice in their career, and he's already done it twice in 3 games. These guys took thousands upon thousands of games to just only do that 2 times. Now, it's a team effort, so but those are legendary quarterbacks I just mentioned. Brady, Breeze, Manning. There's probably a few other guys that, Rivers maybe, I'm not sure, or Ben Roethlisberger even. But yeah, to do it within your first 3 games is just crazy. Yeah, it's really great to see. And the crazy thing is, it's just a nice little college offense, Mike. Like to see us have this kind of success with that. Just nice little college offense.
It felt like the fix was
ran right by you when you had help. Hey, bud. Hey, you okay? Okay, you got burned twice. Nice little college offense.
I felt like the fix was in. Like that Cam Britt Taylor was definitely going to get cooked at least once on Monday night, because like I said, the fix was in. Like it was obvious, like they were going to attack him as soon as they could. It's like he put a target on his back, like,
and
because
just ran straight.
It's like you can't say you watch film and then say what he said during the media session. Because if you watch film, he would have saw that Terry's been running open a lot deep in all the first 2 games. Like he was running open a lot deep. And if I could see that with my untrained eye while I'm at work.
You mean a professional should have seen that? Is that what you're
a professional secondary cornerback
who gets paid to do this?
Again, they also had the number 2 passing defense coming into the game. Mahomes just struggled against them.
Not anymore.
And Jayden Daniels, him and Kingsbury, they took him to school. No pun intended.
Did you see Dan Quinn like, hey man, like I'm gonna take just a little bit of credit for that. And you know what? Dan Quinn and Kingsbury deserve credit. Jayden's getting a lot of credit, and he deserves every bit of it. Don't get me wrong. But I get the feeling that Dan Quinn, and maybe like people have already confirmed this, because I did hear it being kind of mentioned on the radio. I get the feeling that he was telling him like, hey, look, get the yards you can on 3rd down, because we're going to go for it on 4th anyway. So just try to set it up as like a shorter 4th and whatever, instead of trying to get it all on 3rd down, if that makes sense. Like maybe kind of making it a little easier to get more positive yardage. And back to Motormouth talking about our offense. No disrespect to Terry, but that first play that he got beat where he had Terry ran a go route. He just, that for those of you who don't know, and I assume most of you do, a go route is you just run straight ahead as fast as you can. That's literally it, straight ahead. That's a go. That's why it's called that. Just go. And you had another guy helping you. And we had, I believe, 7 to 8 guys on the line of scrimmage to block. There wasn't any play action. It was hike, drop back, and throw to Terry deep. And this guy got beat, and he essentially had a head start. And I get it. You're backpedaling. You got to turn your hips. He's a professional. He gets paid to do this. I doubt very much that this was the first time he's ever had to backpedal and turn his hips and run with somebody. It just, yeah. But Terry beat him deep, badly. And Jayden dropped a dime on him.
Smoked him.
Dropped it right in the breadbasket.
All right, so.
Yeah, we got to move on. Enough glazing, what the kids say.
I always promote the article I write, the weekly defensive article I write for Commanders Classified, and I haven't finished it yet, but a sneak peek, I guess.
Ooh.
I do a 2 up, 2 down, and I never thought he would make the 2 down, but I got to throw Joe Witt on there, bro. Like
I'm feeling what he was doing, huh?
I'm really confused why he kept leaving Jamar Chase 1-on-1 with no safety help. He scored 2 touchdowns on that shit. And it's so frustrating. I'm laughing, but it's so frustrating because on the second one, Saints Juice was like actually pretty good coverage for Jamar Chase. And had he just turned around, maybe he could have, did a desperation jump to bat the ball down or something if he actually
Yeah.
saw the ball coming. But once again, for some reason, the cornerbacks refuse to turn their heads when the receiver eyes are getting big or whatever. Like I know it's probably easier said than done, but like I don't know. You can't, even with all that said, you can't be leaving Jamar Chase 1-on-1 against St. Juice and Sandwich Still. Maybe if Forbes was playing Chase, since both of those routes were like vertical routes and they weren't like horizontally in the middle of the field, whatever. I think Forbes would have did a good job defending Chase on those 2 plays. Like on the Allen on the go route, I trust Forbes in that situation. But yeah, the defense is in trouble. They're going to have to play the ultimate bend, but don't break for the rest of the season because there's no help coming. There are no reinforcements. There's no scheme they could run. There's no um, player that they could sign. Like they're going to have to really bend, but don't break. They're going to allow opponents in the red zone every single drive, and they just got to make sure that the opponents are leaving with more field goals and touchdowns. And unfortunately, that puts a lot of stress on the offense. But as we saw on Monday night, they can handle it.
Yeah, but I think some of it's fixable. Obviously it's disappointing when you bring in a defensive head coach and he brings in, a lot of his guys. We're signing guys. I do think there's a handful of guys, whether they're vets coming in as free agents or rookies that are drafted. There's a lot of people playing together that haven't had a lot of time to play together, if that makes sense. Now we're moving on to week 4, so that excuse kind of becomes less and less valid, as we go further into the season. But I wonder if that combination of also potentially learning a new system for a lot of these guys, well, not a lot, but for some of these guys, if that is, has anything to do with it. But what I'll tell you, the stuff that I do think if we can fix this, that we might be a little bit better on defense. Number one, I don't know what it is. We're not trying to do the hit stick shoulder thing. That's usually a problem in the NFL. I don't know if the Bengals all like put Crisco on or butter or something. We could
It's
we couldn't wrap nobody up. We
it's
every time
not.
we put our hands on it, it was like Jermaine. Remember that Chris Rock bit when he started talking about Jermaine Jackson and how greasy the TV is, and he's like, somebody throw sand on that, and I can't say that last word, but funny bit. Chris Rock's hilarious, but that's what Cincinnati Bengals were. They were greasy and buttery as can be,
Nah,
flipping off of
it's
us.
happened. It's happened all 3 games, bro. I don't get it.
Well, then we got to work on wrapping up.
Especially with Payne. Deron Payne is like the biggest culprit. He keeps like
And you
he'll
hate to
get in the backfield and literally miss the
really,
tackle.
you're not even trying to do a bit. You hate to see it. But the wrapping up, I mean, I swear to God, if they're not having them little, you see them things they got now, it's like a Roomba with a tackling dummy on top of it, and then they can make the Roomba move. They better be doing that all practice. Just run and tackle, and maybe, I don't know, add some extra sand in that thing so it's heavier, harder to wrap up and take down. They got to do that. And then the other one they got to, I think, could at least aid in the fact that we're having trouble keeping guys within our grasp and, taking them to the ground for a tackle. The angles of pursuit were just absolutely atrocious. Like what I mean by that is if you have the ball and I'm chasing you, I would like to chase you at an angle in which I can maybe at least get to where I can contain you, to where I can break down in a stance and perhaps make a play for a tackle or some sort of just physical engagement and contact that will result in you going out of bounds or to the ground. We were doing it in a way that we were basically like, just, we weren't going to catch them. We were charging at them, hoping to hit them. And you know good and well, like that whole NFL phrase, when they're even, they're leaving. And that's pretty much what it was. We were like wanting to run beside them. And it's like some of our guys, like, bro, you're a D lineman. You're not chasing a running back down like in a foot race like that. Like if you got a couple steps ahead of them, you got to like plant and contain. We are rallying to the ball well. I feel like guys are giving effort and they're chasing, but it's just like a lot of those yards, like Malik Neighbors, that's an easy example. The Zach Moss, the one where they like reversed and Burrow threw like a little mini block. The angles in which we are trying to make tackles, atrocious. Anybody who knows what I'm talking about, watch it and you'll see what I'm saying. Atrocious angles of pursuit. That's the easiest way to phrase that. So that's all I got. I'm Mr. Optimistic. I really think, I'm not saying like, top 10, even top 15, but I think we can like definitely climb out of the bottom as far as playing defense. I really do.
Hey,
We got it. I think we can climb up there just a little bit.
so I'm gonna say something else out of defense, but real quick, I just threw the game back on. Joe Barrow has never lost in week 3 until last night. He was 3-0-1. He was 3-0-1.
0-3 with frosted tips. Not a good look.
So, like, I just love how a lot of people were saying before the game, like, this might be a Bengals get right game, and the Washington this, and Bengals that, and all that.
And that's
but
what makes
now all of a sudden, it's just the Bengals, or it's a 0-3 team. Like, get the heck out of here.
You know what?
Like,
I'm glad you brought that up, Mike. Thank you so much. Did you watch the game like you were listening to the commentary as well, like
yeah.
the game? Okay. Did you see when the kicker came up? And I think it was for
yeah.
And they didn't say anything. They didn't say nothing. He kicks it, and then after, like, oh well, McPherson, blah blah. And of course, who was it? PhD. Y'all know what that stands for. Troy Aikman and his boy Joe Buck. They love to hate on teams like the Commanders. They wanted things to like the status quo for certain teams to always be good and certain teams to always be bottom feeders, so the good teams can beat up on them and they can always be like, I don't understand why Washington can't get right. So the kicker kicks his kick, and then they say how he's like hasn't missed a kick in a while. We didn't want to jinx him before the game. What happens way later in the game when our kicker comes up? Oh, he hasn't missed a kick. Like, they were real quick to jinx us, and they were doing stuff like that the whole night. The whole night they were doing that. They were just making these little comments like they were so surprised. I can't believe the Commanders are just moving up and down. Like, the Cincinnati Bengals are that great all of a sudden. No disrespect. I mean it. Like, the Bengals actually pretty good on defense. These guys were just hating on us.
I feel like you're slicing it, bro.
I am absolutely not.
I feel like you're slicing it.
I am not.
I just threw the game back on. I'm looking at the first quarter right now. Like the defense, they just, like I said, it's bend but don't break. Like, it's really nothing that I feel like they're going to be able to do to like shut a defense down, especially if they have good receivers on the boundaries with, and that is going to happen next week. Like, the Cardinals are more than just Marvin Harrison Jr. They have, I think his name is Greg Dostrich or something like that. Trey McBride, the tight end, he can kill you. Like,
he's injured.
I mean, I think he's going to play though. I haven't heard anything. But it's an injury, so anything could happen between now and Sunday afternoon. But nevertheless, like, it's
concussion protocol. So
for Trey McBride too?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Well, not cool, but like
one of their defensive tackles suffered a torn
Yeah,
tricep.
he on the IR. I saw that. Yeah, I just looked at the first touchdown, and yeah, I don't like Joe Witt calling that play for Chase. I mean, with 1-on-1 with
Yeah,
Chase, and I think it was like second or third down or something. Like,
that was
if you're
Bart
gonna play,
there.
if you're gonna play bend but don't break, like play bend but don't break, and you play break, like you play break.
Mike, that was like probably the greatest coach spiel ever. Like, hey, if you're gonna do it, then you do it. All right. And that's what you did right there, and I love it. I love it, Mike.
Um,
Love
but outside of that, like Washington, like even the defense, they made timely stops and got sacks and things like that. It's just that the Bengals are a good offensive team that was desperate, so they're gonna play well too. The kicker don't miss a kick, and they convert on one of those 2-point conversions. All of a sudden, that game was tied 38-38. So um, the defense did do just enough. And like I said earlier, that's going to have to be their MO this season, to just do just enough. And I think on Sunday versus the Cardinals, if they can, like the Cardinals are only averaging 19 points a game. So
They haven't played our
like,
defense yet. God, I hate saying that.
like if you could hold them under 30, you might have a better chance at winning. Duh, I know, but this team been giving up a lot of points. Like a lot of points. Even against the Giants, they gave up what, 18 points? 3 touchdowns? That's a lot of touchdowns to keep giving up.
Yeah, luckily the
So
Giants didn't sign a kicker during the week like they should have. But yeah, I mean, it could be a shootout. You never know. Hopefully, I was just seeing Sam Cosmi's got a little bit of an Achilles injury. That's definitely not a good sign, sitting out practice. It could be like he's dealing with this injury and this is like a maintenance day kind of thing. They're not going to say a whole lot on that. Let me go back to the thing here. Just says does not practice. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't say much about the injury, so hopefully this isn't something that just developed. That would definitely be rough. Oh, but yeah. So, what do you want to save? I guess we let's just transition right into the Arizona thing, right? I mean, we're already talking
um
about it. So, week 4,
no. I
Cardinals. Man.
I guess we can. Because I wanted to talk about the quarterbacks too. But
Oh, okay. Well, I thought we'd do that after since the Commanders are playing the Cardinals. We were still talking Commanders. So
mm,
it's up to you.
nah, let's do the quarterbacks first because
Okay,
it'll lead us back to the
sure. Fair
Cardinals.
enough.
And
Fair enough.
yeah, you can go ahead, bro.
Okay, so this was a topic I was kind of thinking about. A little bit of a popular thing that is kind of obviously noticeable in the NFL, where you got to have a quarterback. I used to kind of not be as much of a believer of that. You look at instances like the Baltimore Ravens with Trent Dilfer. No disrespect to him, but it was all defense, special teams. They did have skill players like Shannon Sharp and Jamal Lewis, as well as Brandon Stokely, who was actually a pretty solid receiver for most of his career. They had a couple of other guys. I think Quadre Ishmael might have been on that team, maybe not. I can't remember. But anyway, in this day and age, and Jayden Daniels proved it as we were, talking so much about all the things that he did on Monday night. Again, the proof is in the pudding. So I bring all that up because we look at the current state Washington's in with the quarterback, the situation they've been in for pretty much majority of Mike and I's life, as far as do we have a quarterback or don't we? And then comparing that to what's going on in the NFL right now. Bryce Young, who was drafted high by the draft number 1 overall, by the Panthers, it just does not seem to be working out. I thought it was a little much to pull the plug just after 2 starts into this season. because he has yet again a new coaching staff, new system potentially, etc. They did put pieces like Adam Thielen, Deontay Johnson. I don't know if Miles Sanders is still there, but they did add some receivers there, and it seems like it's not working. Now, I understand the coaching staff is trying to sort of say, hey, like, we're not attached to the hip of this guy. Like, we didn't draft this guy. He's not our guy. But I still thought it was real quick to pull the trigger. Very Washington like almost is what I felt. But Andy Dalton goes in there, and I'm not saying the Raiders are a great defense, but they're not bad. And he lights it up with those very same guys that Bryce Young couldn't get it done with. And I wonder if the Panthers have already ruined this guy, or if maybe it just is the fact that he's not that he's not worthy of the number one pick. He's a bust. And then I look at Sam Darnold, who did at one point play for the Panthers, and I don't think he was very good, because I'm pretty sure, some of the losses they incurred with him at the helm led to Bryce Young getting drafted. But look at what Sam Darnold's doing now. He is playing absolute great football. His team's 3-0. So whether it's a change of scenery or what, I just look at that. You described it as an ecosystem, which I think is a great adjective to use in this case. And I just wonder, like it's like that Marvel series. Those of you who are into Disney Plus, what if, what if CJ Stroud was taken number 1 overall instead of Bryce Young? Would it be the same? And I mean that, no disrespect to CJ Stroud, but let's go back to Jason Campbell, who I thought was a great quarterback for us, a little hesitant to throw the deep ball. But you know why? Because for a majority of his career, the minute he said hike, the defense was already like within grasp. They could smell whether or not he had brushed his teeth or what he had for dinner that night. That's how bad it was. And I feel like, again, Andy Dalton is proven otherwise, but I wonder if the Panthers ruin this guy, and if maybe he can't have a Sam Darnold kind of situation. And it's the same thing I've wondered about a lot of quarterbacks who have walked through our door, whether we didn't do right by them one way or another. And you could even, people are starting to say it too. I hate to throw it in there because I think he's a real talented kid, but people are starting to say that about Caleb Williams too, that they have better skill players than Washington does, but yet somehow the way we did it is much more productive as far as the results go. So again, the quote of the show, I've said too much. Mike, tag, you're in.
Nah, and like I was telling you earlier, that's the key. It's about how you're building around the quarterback. Like literally building your organization from the team facilities to the roster itself, the coaching staff, um, the training staff, the secretaries, all that matters. So I feel like Washington is in a great position to build a quarterback, and they have a great quarterback to build from. Like I'm looking on that 4th and 2 on the first drive where he hit McCaffrey, and at some point it really do look like he playing 7-on-7 out there. But nah, like he's in good hands. Bryce Young isn't. Caleb Williams. The jury's still out on him and what he has around him. I don't think it's as bad as people say. The offensive line just got to get some more continuity. And like I know Daniels is playing well, and this might be blasphemy, but I feel like if you put Caleb Williams in this system, he definitely probably wouldn't hit 91% of his passes. But you may see more explosive plays because of his arm talent.
So, good, my bad.
No, I'm just saying like that, but that's about it. I think we have a much better fit personality-wise, culture-wise. with Daniels and Williams, and I think that'll go a long way too with developing a quarterback. Just praying that they're a good-hearted person and that they allow you to let them build around you. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. So, do you think, much like I had mentioned in the past, the Brady effect, quote unquote, am I now, is this a realization for me and maybe others, or just a, something going on where your team, if they have the guy they believe, they deem to be the guy, right? They think, hey, this is the guy who's going to do it for us, and he's proven it like Daniels did. Does that make it easier to build the team when you have the quarterback, as in people will come to the team to play for them because they believe in that guy? Does that make sense?
No,
Because I
I see
was
what you're
always of the
saying.
belief that, like I said, whether it's the Ravens, you look at what we were trying to do, where we had Trent, we had Sheriff, and we were trying to build an O line, and then what we tried to do, trying to build the D line, and I was of the belief, hey, look, if we get a good enough, you know, sets of pieces here, we build this D line, and then maybe we get a linebacker or two, a safety. All of a sudden, this defense is a force, and then we start to just build an O line, control the ball, run the ball, whatever. But I guess a lot of those guys don't want all that pressure on them if there's not the guy to play quarterback and to really do the thing. Is that, like, maybe that's what I'm more or less thinking out loud here, like coming to realizations. Like, I guess that's what it is. Like, if you got Lamar, you got Josh Allen, whether it was Brady or Manning, those guys back in the day, like, I guess it was easier for guys to overachieve because they had that guy, you know,
I know
believed in.
Lamar Jackson. I know Lamar Jackson. Like he, I'm talking about the only reason I'm saying something about him because you brought him up. Like, and I work with a lot of Ravens fans too. The thing about him, and I don't want to really say this because I feel like I might be starting something, but I just feel like he's a more polished passer than Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I would say so
And
too.
I don't think it's like because Lamar won the 2 MVPs, it seemed like everybody make him the second best quarterback in the league because of the 2 MVP trophies. And I'm like, nah, I think Josh Allen is better. It just seemed like Jackson is hitting his ceiling and he needs to evolve. And I just feel like the Ravens have done all they could to help him evolve, and he might reach this peak. But I don't think it's necessarily just on him to evolve either. And like you were like bringing it back to what you were saying about Daniels, there's a great ecosystem in place for him right now. And I think he's getting off to a better start than pretty much any rookie quarterback that we've been seeing recently because of the ecosystem they surrounded him with. A veteran tight end, veteran running back, coaches out the wazoo, bro.
Yeah.
Like you got former coordinators on your staff, former head coach, 2 former head coaches on your staff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's ridiculous. They did a great job of surrounding him, and it's not like Chicago did bad. It's just that the Commanders did that much better. And as far
I
as
agree.
Carolina, I always felt like Tepper was the new Snyder, and they do nothing to prove me wrong.
No,
Honestly, they do more to prove me right.
no, absolutely, and that's, I think that was a big uh, part of the base, or the basis of this particular topic, was just, what I've said all along, is that we're not, we bring these guys in, and I do feel like it can be applied to Bryce Young. I guess that's really what this is about. It's us, but it's also, I guess, I see what we've had to go through a lot in what's going on in Carolina now. Like, you can't just bring these guys. It's not Madden. It's not a video game. You can't just insert somebody and like, all right, go do the thing now. You know, you can't do that. It doesn't work. Now, hey, look, is there an instance where if for example, that picture I sent you that Chase Daniels, he went out on his own on Twitter and said, you know, oh, 3-team trade. Matthew Stafford goes to Miami and whatever else. And does am I saying that they're going to be trash and it's not going to work at all? No, he's got a cannon. He's going to love throwing to Tyreek and those guys, but he's not going to arrive there and go 25 for 25 for like 350 and 4 touchdowns right away. It's just not going to happen. And that's the same in any situation you draft somebody, that it takes time. And I know people will make the same jokes that are made about Kyler Murray with Bryce Young being small and he can't see over the line of scrimmage and blah blah blah. Well, I mean, if that's really the case, why are they not designing plays to move the line of scrimmage or to move him out of the pocket a little bit so that he can see down the field and make throws? Or if you knew that, then why did you draft him in the first place? And I get the coaching staff is going to say, oh, well, we didn't have anything to do with that. That was the last group. I would be specifically talking to the owner now then. And I know the owner might not know football, but then, I mean, how hard is it to think of stuff like that? But yeah, like I said, I guess I just see a lot of what we had to go through in what Carolina's going through now. You know, Andy Dalton would represent like maybe a Kirk or someone like that, come in, have a good game, and they're like, oh man, you see what happened? Like, look, it was just so and so was the problem. And then you get rid of whoever, you know, in this case, Bryce Young, which they haven't done yet, but that's kind of what you would think is kind of starting to happen now is if Andy Dalton's going to come in and play well, now the guy you picked first, only after a year or two, you're just going to get rid of. And that's what we used to do all the time.
All right, and we're actually going to end the show by picking the games. And when we get to the Cardinals and Commanders, we'll dive deeper. We'll just say that game for last. But off top, I know the Thursday night game. It is the Cowboys at the Giants. Cowboys are 5.5-point favorites. I'm obviously rolling with Dallas. Too much talent on offense. Defense has been trash. They're actually ranked as bad as Washington's defense in a lot of categories. So it's not like their defense has been lighting stuff up. But yeah, the Giants are nah. I don't care if it's at home. I don't care if it's on a short week. I don't care if Dallas arguing with each other.
Doesn't care.
Give me Dallas. And an outright win. Like, I ain't doing that point stuff. I'm just telling that for y'all to know who's favorite or whatever.
I'm going Giants.
Really?
Giants. They are going to run all over Dallas. You saw what Baltimore did. Daniel Jones is going to run, and he is going to not get tripped up by blades of grass this time. He's going to gallivant down the sideline on his way to many touchdowns. And hey, look, Diggs versus Neighbors, maybe that'll be a good matchup. Because I'll be honest, I never thought the kid was trash, but so far, he's making a believer out of me. The last 2 games, against us, we have 110 and 2 touchdowns last week. I don't think he got 100, but he definitely had another 2 touchdowns. Whew. Excuse me. Making plays.
We just talked about the Commanders' first victory opponent. Now we're talking about their second victory opponent. The Bengals are going to Carolina to play the Panthers. They're coming off a win. The Bengals are favored by 4.5, and I think a lot of people are getting it twisted. I think they think last night was about the Bengals being a sorry team. No. I think it was just more about Washington being really explosive on offense right now. The Bengals scored 33 points, bro.
Yeah, Andy Dalton, former that's Andy Dalton versus old team. Joe Burrow, like I said, he looked really good on Monday night. He looked comfortable flicking the ball. I mean, what do you have? Like 300 something yards, couple
You
touchdowns. Like, he had a good game, man.
you know who Chris Canty is?
Yeah, he used to be a D tackle for the Giants and the Ravens.
Yeah, I think he's played for the Cowboys too for a little bit. He
Oh,
was going on Joe. He was going on Joe Burrow, saying that the loss was his fault, and he gets away with this and he gets away with that. And I'm like, my guy,
huh?
my guy, what are you talking about, my brother? Like the
Trying to have
man
a
scored
hot take?
33. The man scored 33 points last night. His team didn't punt either. He didn't turn the ball over either.
Yeah,
It's not
somehow it's
like
his fault.
it's not like
Joe
he
Burrow
threw
missed
up
a
a
field goal.
stinker. Like that man, he threw for I think he threw for over 300 yards yesterday. Like he did what he was supposed to do, and I think he's going to do it again. And they get at the Bengals. I mean, they get at the Panthers. Did you pick that game yet?
No, I'm going to take the Bengals as well. There's absolutely no reason to take the Panthers, but hey, sure enough, as we both picked the Bengals, the Panthers are going to win, right?
You know it. I'm gonna let you go
Burrow had
first on this one.
3 touchdowns. Just saying.
Coming off a win versus the Bucks and Tampa Bay. Again, coming off a win versus the Bucks and Tampa Bay.
How crazy was that?
The Broncos are 7.5-point underdogs versus the Jets in New York.
Oh my god, that's going to be one of those just really weird. It's in New York. I'm going to take the Jets. The Jets aren't traveling to Denver. I think that
Yeah.
might have somehow. I hate to do that and like just completely take away from the Broncos, but like there's still a lot of the same team that got like 70 points hung on them last year, man. And
You keep talking about that game.
I can't believe that Tampa, who just looked unbelievable, beating up on us. Granted it's us, but still. And then
They beat the Lions the next
Yeah, that's
week.
what I was gonna say. Then they beat Detroit. Like, all right, I guess a combo of not taking Denver seriously, and then that high altitude. Yeah.
Nah, the game was in Tampa.
What?
Yes.
No excuses. Why did I think it was in Denver? Good God! So Denver
I
just
could have sworn it was in Tampa. Yeah, it was in Tampa. They beat the brakes off of them.
Well, son of a bee sting.
Yeah. Next game, probably the game of the week. Saints traveling to the A. We could do rapid fire on this one. The Saints are 1.5-point favorites. No, they're 1.5-point underdogs, actually. And I think they lose.
Yep, I agree.
All right. I got the Vikings and the Packers. The Vikings are 2.5-point dogs traveling to Green Bay. Who you rolling with?
I'm gonna go Vikings. I think they're gonna stay 4-0. Is Neighbors playing? I mean, not Neighbors. Jeez, I was just talking about Neighbors. Is Jordan Love playing? I don't think he is. Right? I think it's still gonna
be. It's still up in the air. I think either way, I'm gonna go with Minnesota as well.
Yeah, they're playing really well. But hey, mini shout out to Malik Willis. He seems to be kind of doing his thing there in Green Bay. I don't want to take away from it just as quick as I give him a shout out, but maybe Matt LaFleur is kind of good at this whole offensive minded dealing with quarterbacks kind of thing. Maybe. I don't know. But good
I'm
for him.
Gonna go on a limb. They're road dogs at 6.5 points. But I'm actually going to pick the Jaguars to beat the Texans.
Ooh, and 2 losses in a row for Houston.
And yeah, it could be scary hours in Houston. I'm pretty sure you're not going to.
No, I'm going to pick Houston, but it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle. So no Joe Mixon, I think, as of right now. He's banged up. Looks like they're hoping to get Damian Pierce back, but then I think also Tank Dell, their number two, is a little banged up. So that would move Diggs, my fantasy guy. Hopefully he scores a lot. That would move him to number two, but then that does kind of hurt their offense. So I realize, a lot of what I said bodes well for Jacksonville, but no, I think Houston gets it done. I think if 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 Chris Canty wanted to say anything about anything being anybody's fault or any of that kind of stuff, you want to take any of that noise anywhere about a young quarterback. I hate to say it, but Trevor Lawrence, what has he done?
Yeah.
Just what we talked about with Bryce Young. Bryce Young playing not so good. You benching him. What's Trevor Lawrence done?
All right, rapid fire on the next two.
Yep, gotcha.
I got Steelers and Colts at Indianapolis. Colts are 1.5 point underdogs.
Steelers.
Yeah, this looks like a trap game, but I'm going with the Steelers as well. The Bears versus Rams in Chicago. The Bears are actually favored in this game.
Go figure.
And I'll take them for the dub. Got a West Coast team traveling east. Bears just find a way to win games. They're 2-1 right now, and I think they'll be 3-1 at 4:00 this Sunday.
Yeah, God. See, I was gonna pick the Bears, and now I don't want to. But then the more I think about it, I don't. Other than Kyron Williams, I don't. Who plays for the Rams right now offensively? Because in Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, aren't both of them kind of banged up?
Yeah,
I think Nacua
got
hasn't
a dude
really
named Deontay. I mean, I think they got Deontay Johnson from the Steelers. I think.
No, he plays in Carolina.
Oh, and there's another Johnson or something. I don't know. Bears by 5. It's like no. Eagles at Bucks. This is a tough game to pick. Give me Tampa because they just coming off of the ill. And they are a 1.5 point underdog.
Yeah, I'll take Tampa then, hopefully, because Philly, they're same thing with their wide receivers, AJ Brown and Devontae Davis, banged up.
Potential blowout alert in Santa Clara this weekend. Got the Patriots traveling to San Francisco as a 10.5 point underdog. That's a lot for the NFL, 10.5 points. You don't see that often. Obviously, I'm going with the 49ers.
Yeah, same. Same indeed, sir.
Chiefs at Chargers. Burrow. Herbert may not be playing. Heineke getting a start. Do I need to say more?
Well, I don't think it matters what you say because, guys can run into you in the end zone and you don't get pass interference called in your favor unless you're the Chiefs. So just want to throw that little tidbit out there. But yeah, I'm going the Chiefs.
Apparently, though, people saying that the call, not from this week, but the one against the Bengals was the right call. So I don't know. Hit me the Chiefs 500. It's like no.
Goodness.
Browns at Raiders. Dumb game. Very, very dumb game. Give me the Browns because they just have a little bit more talent.
Yeah, I'm going in the same direction. They have a little more talent. And it seems like, the Raiders they have that big upset over the Ravens, and then last week they kind of screw the pooch. So, it is what it is.
Sunday Night Football. Potential game of the week nominee. My man, Lamar Jackson, hosting my other man, Josh Allen. You got Ravens versus Bills. Um, the Ravens are actually favored at 2.5 points, and I'm gonna take that bet, bro. Give me the Ravens, man. I think they're gonna make a statement on Sunday night. I think it's gonna be a duel, but I think the Ravens defense shuts down, but they get a big stop, and the Ravens just outlast them.
So I'm picking the Ravens specifically because Lamar Jackson's on my fantasy team. And I just lost last week to a guy who had Josh Allen or has Josh Allen on his fantasy team. I was winning by like a little, like 20, 24 points.
Oh
Josh
wow!
to go and score a whole ton of points. Which, side note, I've always hated that about the NFL and football teams. You know, whether it's Aaron Rodgers, he's gotta throw to Devontae Adams and Lazard and everybody. We're on the goal line. We have running backs, but we're not going to punch it in. Yeah, Pittsburgh, you got Le'Veon Bell. Who cares? Ben Roethlisberger has to throw it to Antonio Brown and all these other, Emmanuel Sanders, whoever before he left. I've always hated that about the NFL. You get on the goal line, hand it to the running back, the one that I have in the fantasy lineup specifically, hand it to that guy so he can score. Jeez.
You lunch it, bro.
Like a brown bag.
Another double hitter this week for Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I saw that.
One trash, just absolutely trash game. Titans at Miami.
Oh my god!
Give me the Dolphins by default, but don't expect what you saw last week with the Bengals and Commanders to happen in this game. Matter of fact, expect the complete opposite.
I think Huntley's going to start for the Dolphins. I think that Tyler Thompson got hurt, so
yeah,
run a little bit. So that might be an added factor.
I didn't even know that.
Still give me the Dolphins. Like Jayden Daniels.
Still give me the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Last game of the week, besides Commanders, Cards, we have another potential game of the week candidate. The Seahawks traveling to Motor City to face the Fighting Dan Campbells. But the Lions are favored by. What happened? Oh, accidentally forward. The Lions are favored by. 3.5. Bruh, the Bears play the Panthers next week.
Goodness.
But anyway, give me the Lions, man. I just feel like the Bucks caught them off guard. They're back on track, and they are probably going to be the best team in the NFC this season because of the injuries that San Francisco are dealing with. So give me Detroit.
It's in Detroit, right? So I think,
yep.
I think I'm going to go Detroit. But hey, how about Seattle? They are number one in their division. It's not San Francisco. It's not St. Louis. It's not even Arizona. It is the Seattle Seahawks. Apparently, Mike McDonald is over there just simplifying and making life extremely easy for the defensive players, and that's supposed to be, at least what I'm hearing, a big reason why they're having success. Certainly doesn't hurt to have a freak of nature like DK Metcalf, but yeah.
For the second straight week, and we also have a game of the week candidate on our hand too.
We do.
We have two Heisman Trophy winners going at it. Yeah. Washington will be hosted by another Heisman Trophy winner. Man, I'm all jacked up. But the Cardinals at 1-2, hosting the 2-1 Commanders. They are a 3.5-point favorite. Washington just pulled off the upset in Cincinnati. My brother, do you think they can do it again?
Well, I like that they're already there. Good strategy. Get over there early.
Wonderful strategy.
and get acclimated, time zone change and jet lag and all. If there's any kind of elevation changes as well, get all that going. I you know I don't want us to get overhyped, but I think, again, we found our guy. So I think that swagger and that confidence, um, might see a little more of it come out. Us open up the playbook just a little more, because I thought we could. We've played very conservatively so far this season, but in that same conservative fashion, we kind of opened up the playbook a little more on Monday night. And so that incremental thing, which, by the way, Slowick, who is, I can't remember where he is now. Is he in Houston? He went to Houston, right? With the offensive coordinator,
Uh,
Bob Slowick. With
I think
yeah,
is he the Titans coach now?
no, I thought he was the offensive coordinator with what's our guy, the head coach in Houston.
The Miko Morans.
Yeah, they both were in San Francisco
Oh
together.
yeah, he's still an offensive coordinator.
So he's saying the success that Stroud had is that it was like he kept feeding him, but like incrementally, like growth. And so I think that's what we'll do with Daniels. I think we're going to go in there and we're going to get the dub. Look, I mean, no disrespect to Kyler Murray or Marvin Harrison Jr. or any of these other, Jonathan Connors. Like, they got some talent over there, but I think we're building something special here, and I think there's momentum, and when you think about some of those vets, some of that stuff on defense, I'm telling you, it's going to get cleaned up. It doesn't mean they're going to, become the '85 Bears or anything. Certainly not, but I think they're going to clean it up. And I think the same way they had a game plan for Cincy, they're going to have a game plan for Arizona, and they're implementing it pretty much not as we speak. I mean, well, I don't know. Time zone change, maybe they are. And then they're making it like what Dan Quinn said. They're implementing these systems so that you just go out on Sunday and do what you practiced, and that's it. And so I think we're going to win. I don't know. We don't know about blowout or anything like that. Might be a shootout, different kind of out.
I'm very concerned about James Conner, bro. I just feel like this bend but don't break defense is a horrible strategy to go against a team with an actual good running back. You can get away with it when you're playing the Bengals and Giants because their running backs aren't that good. With Arizona, I just don't know. I feel like they might, knowing that we can control the game when we control the ball, that they might try to keep the ball away from us this time.
Sure.
And I just feel like they outgun us.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 31-27. And it's crazy. I actually picked us to win on the Commanders to Classified. That's the first time I ever did that. Had two different choices, but the more I think about it, Connor scares me. Yeah, I think that's my key.
Yeah, so I didn't give a score, but I'll throw one out there real quick. Like I said, I'm taking Commanders. Let's go. I did say a shootout, so I can't say 28-17. That's not much of a shootout. Let's go 35-28. Reasonable.
All right, real quick, the end of the show. The songs.
All right. You want me to take this away and then you jump in it? Okay. So here we go. Music. Who doesn't like music, right? I think we all love music. There's different kinds. There's music that gets you pumped up. There's music that makes you feel good. There's music that maybe makes you feel a little sad, whether it has to do with a memory or something like that. And there's music that can resonate with sports. I think everybody, especially if you're an '80s or even a '90s baby, we will rock you is probably forever going to be a sports anthem. You name the sport, I guarantee you it was and or is still played at the beginning and during these sporting events, high school all the way up. Anywhere where there's a speaker and some sort of auxiliary cord, it's happening. Having said that, there are some songs that I do like, but I find myself bittersweetly enjoying them because of said affiliation with teams I don't like and things of that nature. I will give my first example. I have a few others, but um, I will go with Party Hard by Andrew WK. Great song, very simplistic, not complicated, no sort of deep messaging or meaning in the lyrics. It's just, hey, it's time to party. When we party, we will party hard, and it's just there's a little bit of getting amped up when you party hard. This is not a mellow party. This is a jump around and, get the circulation going party. But those pesky Pittsburgh Penguins play it every time at their home ice Yinzer Stadium place, and I'm kind of like, if it comes on and I start kind of jamming, when is party, we will party. I'm going off, and then I'm like, oh right, yeah. People probably think like, oh, the Penguins. No, absolutely not. So before I give any of my other two, any of my other right. Anyway, I didn't know where I was going before I said that. Do you have any songs like that, Mike? Is there anything where like perhaps a little bit of a bad memory?
Nah. The only thing I guess I could give you is the Tomahawk chant.
Oh, for the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, and the Chiefs. Yeah. But that's the best I can
There's
give
all
you.
these protests and petitions for them to stop doing that crap because we're racist with our name, but they can do that. Got a bunch of white people painting their faces doing a chop, basically like back in like the Peter Pan Disney movie days, like how right, just being extremely R-wordish. So I just actually thought of another one. You'll appreciate this. Way back when my brother and I were in a fantasy league and I was playing him. He had Ronnie Brown for the Miami Dolphins. Don't know if you remember him. He was Mr. Wildcat. And Jimmy Buffett is from Miami. He has a song called Fins. Now it's about sharks. It's not about dolphins, but dolphins, fins in the name. And so essentially the way the song goes, you got fins to the left, fins to the right. You're the only bait in town. Well, they play that whenever someone scores a touchdown. And I'll never forget. I can't remember whether I lost the game to Nick, but I'm sitting there just like hoping that Ronnie Brown does a whole lot of nothing. He scores, and that's right, Ed. Yeah, play it. Fins, play it. And just him saying that after Ronnie Brown scores touchdown, then he scores another, and hearing him say that over and over. And I'm like, oh, God. Good song, too. Good song by Jimmy Buffett.
That's wild. Yeah, I can't really think of nothing else off the top of my head. I guess the Fly Eagles Fly. Matter of fact, all the Philly flight songs are kind of annoying because they got the little 76ers joint too. The little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Sixers. Something. It's kind of catchy.
But
I'll send it to you later.
Yeah, please don't, because I would like to never ever hear anything that is promoting.
Oh nah,
you want to?
I heard it. You gotta hear it, bro.
I mean, if I get some kind of discount on one of those delicious cheesesteaks, maybe, but I don't know how that would work either. But
when the last time you've been to Philly for a cheesesteak?
So I've only been to Philly once, and it was when I was working at elementary school. They take the sixth graders go on the trip to Philly. And I was actually trying to get a cheesesteak, but we didn't go. Like where we went was not near any of those like Geno's, Pat's, or whoever like historical places.
I don't want to go there anyway.
Well, I got one, but it was just from like a regular place. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like a big, nice size cheesesteak
It
with like.
probably was better than the ones from Pat Lucinos.
Well, I did have a really good pretzel guy gave me. It's a long story, but pretzel with some spicy. It was pretty good. I bought it. He didn't give it to me, but you know what I mean. But just to back to the song thing, I want to go deep into this. We have mentioned, or I have mentioned this on the song. Another one that I can't stand, and I already mentioned my brother, so you can thank him again. There's a great little ditty by a man named John Denver. It's called Country Roads. It is a great song. And I get that they say that he says, because I belong in West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. I get that that's in the lyric. He's talking about the western part of Virginia, not West Virginia. And these country yokels, who are probably all related to each other, are in country road, take me home to the brave. And it's just like, dude, every game y'all sing that. And it's awesome. It's a great song, except I can't stand West Virginia. So I really like anytime I hear it, I'm just like, man, it's a great song that has been adopted by some of the worst people.
Um, I think we talked about it on the show.
I don't think West Virginians are terrible people.
I think we talked about it on the show, and we'll end it with this, y'all. Thanks for joining us. But last year when I was in Virginia Beach, which is Eastern Virginia, the song was playing at the bar, and my wife was like looking around and stuff with a concerned look on her face. And then she looks at me, and I start singing Country Roads with the rest of the bar. And she was like, "Oh, you know it. Good." I thought it was some racist chant that was starting.
She thought
And
you was like, downtown.
I was like, what? And then I tried to picture it, like, how can she get that? Like, maybe she ain't hear the words clear or whatever, but it was definitely a memorable tidbit or a memorable moment. But yeah, I like the song. I don't mind West Virginia, the state or the college.
Sports only. The people there, I have no problem with the people there.
I ain't got no beef with the Mountaineers. Well, actually, yes, I do. Maryland does have a beef with the Mountaineers. It's called the Backyard Brawl. But
you're not accurate there, bud. That's Pittsburgh.
That's Pittsburgh and Maryland. Okay.
So, well, there was a time in the early 2000s where Maryland and West Virginia ended up playing each other a lot, whether it was regular season or some of those .com bowls or whatever. There was like a maybe like 3 to 4 year span where they played each other a lot. Like we're talking maybe like the last year or two of Regent, like during that time period, if that makes sense. Yeah. They definitely there was a thing there for a while where they were playing each other, but the backyard brawl is definitely Pittsburgh and West Virginia.
Oh yeah. I wonder. Yeah. Now that you say that, that's exactly. I always get that mixed up for some reason.
It happens. I don't know why. There's a lot of jumbled up states in that area, so.
I thought Maryland had a rivalry game with somebody. It's not Virginia. You would think it would be Virginia, but I don't know. Maryland, when it comes to basketball, sports in general, huh?
I was gonna say basketball. It's Duke for sure, but yeah, I couldn't tell you football. Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, the only like name game they got, and I don't even think they play each other anymore. At least I can't remember the last time they played each other. But the Crab Bowl Classic, when Maryland played Navy.
Oh, okay.
The winner gets the Crab Bowl trophy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a cool idea. That should be something that happens all the time.
But that's the only named rivalry they have. they have a rivalry with Virginia football, but like I said, it's not really a name to it. And yeah, we are at the end of the show where we just start talking about nonsense, and I think it's time for us to get up out of here.
Yeah, pretty much, man. I'm exhausted. Got to finish this week out. Get to a nice little weekend. A lot of nothing. So,
Love, peace, hair grease. Hail to the Commanders. X. Hail to the Redskins. X. Washington football team. DMV.
good morning, good night. X. Use the hair grease. Deuces. Game. Blouses.